requests be made known unto him that they need a job. If they were seeking the one true God, instead of looking for their answers inside government, looking to their answers inside of drugs or whatever you're looking for your answers to, looking for, hoping that some rich guy will just break down and, cut a check to everybody that's there on the street, divide his money up and hand it out, that is still not the solution. The solution is God. You'll know that in this country, it's very interesting that in 1962, they took the Ten Commandments out of schools, and they took God out of the school, and they basically outlawed Christianity in the public school. This next year, which is just a couple weeks away, 2012, is the 50-year anniversary of evicting God from a public school system. And right now, going on throughout this country, the problems and all of the things that are going on is a result of 50 years of shoving God out of society now, and trying to allowing other gods to come in. The God Jehovah that blessed this country from the beginning, he said he will not share his glory with another. And he said that even in the Old Testament, all throughout the Old Testament, when Israel stopped serving that God, shoved him aside and said, we're going to meet our own needs. We don't need to serve God. And then, or they went and served other gods, or said, we're going to give equal rights to 15 different gods here. The real God, he said, well, if that's the way you want to do it, I'm going to withdraw the blessing from your land. And not only did the blessing withdraw, but when the blessing withdraws, then the curse comes in. And he said, I'm going to let you serve your enemies. And throughout history, Israel's supposed to be the apple of God's eye. And God let them collapse economically every time they did not serve him and serve him only. Now, the United States has spent the last 50 years shoving Jehovah aside and letting everything else come through, and we are 50 years into God withholding the blessing and the curse being allowed to come in. Now, you're not going to get a government, a rich man, a group of rich men, anybody to come up with anything that's going to even come close to matching the blessing of God on a nation. This nation needs a blessing of God back on it again, and the only way to get it is for people to begin petitioning him, to seek him with a whole heart, get all the other gods out of the way and say, you're the one true God. And when what's funny is when I was in grade school, the Ten Commandments was on the wall. The second commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. The God of heaven didn't say, thou shalt make sure that all of us gods got equal rights. He said, I'm the only one. And if you try to serve others, I will remove the blessing. Well, this land and this nation has had the blessing removed. And the people are hurting. There is great hurt. The people that are Occupy Wall Street, there are great hurt in their lives and their families because of the blessing not being here. That has nothing to do. The government cannot hand out blessing. The rich 1% of the population cannot hand out blessing. Hang on, I'll shut the phone off. All right. Make sure it's not the wife. It is. She can leave a message, hopefully. Anyhow, here's the deal. Nothing that any government or man can do on this planet can replace the blessing of God. And we've got to petition him and him alone to get that blessing back. Now, I'll try to get back to where I was at here in this thing. Hang on, let me get a drink. Okay, I want to say this. A lot of people say in the last days that the Antichrist is going to come on the scene. Everybody's going to take the mark. That's in Revelation chapter 13, Mark of the Beast, if anybody wants to read about it. But that the whole world is going to submit to the Antichrist authority and do whatever he wants to. But I want to talk about that for a couple of minutes here. I want to start with this with this thought. I believe, personally, that if you read the Bible correctly, you'll realize that the United States of America is going to come back for God. And I don't think that they're going to be underneath the authority and submission of the Antichrist. And the reason I believe that, I believe what I'm saying, I think we're making a comeback for God, is because in the book of Daniel, where Daniel prophesies all the different one world governments, the very last government he talks about is the weakest government at all. And it is made up of 10 or 13 nations. It's not made up of the whole nations of the world. And it says this, there's a prophecy, I believe it's in chapter 8, but it says about the Antichrist. It says, he will come up out of the Mideast, and he will wax strong, pay attention to my words, he will wax strong towards the south, towards the east, and towards the Holy Land. If you don't believe me, look it up and read it for yourself. But if you're like me, I'm the type of guy that, thinks outside that box, that means he is not going to wax strong towards the north or towards the west. The Antichrist is going to wax strong towards the south, the east, and towards the Holy Land. That means that's where all his strength is going to go. It's not going to come across the ocean. The United States of America is not going to serve under the Antichrist authority and rule, according to the Daniel prophecy. We're to the west of that region where the Antichrist comes up, and he's not going to wax strong in our direction. I don't care if the rapture comes. I don't care if it doesn't come. Either way, the United States is not going to put up with the Antichrist and the mark of the beast. Reason I say that, let's say the rapture does not come. He's not going to take control of all the Christians over here. We're too strong. Let's say the rapture does come. The Christians are gone, but guess who's left? The multitude of kids and relatives and friends that we said, hey, the rapture's going to happen, that said back to us, I don't believe in the rapture, show me, or whatever. But anyway, once the rapture happens, then they'll believe in it. And guess what will happen then? Then they'll also realize that everything that their parents told them about the mark of the beast is true too. And you're going to see a strong group of people come up. Hang on. She can leave a message. Okay. You're going to see a strong group of people come up and say, we're not going to put up with this. And they're going to fight against it whether the rapture comes or not. Now, here's the other reason I don't believe that. In the book of Revelation chapter 12, which is one chapter before Revelation 13 about the mark of the beast, it says that in Revelation chapter 12, there'll be a period of 3.5 years where the dragon, the Antichrist, and the beast stand on one side of a body of water, and they fume, and they just sit there mad because there's a body of water between them and the church. It talks about the lady in there. The lady is the church. It says that God will prepare a wilderness for her where she is safe from the Antichrist. And there's a big body of water between them. Well, that body of water is going to be the Atlantic Ocean. I believe so. And the wilderness is going to be the United States. With or without the rapture, the United States of America, prophetically in the Bible, is going to be a wilderness where people who want to serve the true living God, whether the rapture's already come or not, and do not want to accept the mark of the beast or be underneath the rule of the Antichrist are not going to be. All right? He's going to wax strong to the south, the east, and the Holy Land. That is where his authority is going to reign. And the United States is not in it. So here we go. I have hope for America coming back to Christ. It's going to happen. Now let's apply that to this situation right here. All right, I want to say this. And we're back on the topic of the Occupy protesters. You are at a crossroads, whether you realize it or not. Within the next few weeks, months of occupying and getting no results, you're going to come to a conclusion. And you're going to face a crossroads. They're going to do one of two things. I forgot to shut my cell phone off. Okay, you're going to do one of two things.